Well, I lost all my pretty openers. Every single one of them. It's on my old computer, along with all the pictures, which suddenly crashed. And after a virus, after a tweet I done. But anyway, I've got bit by a Lymes tick, and my wife found it. I don't know how long it'd been there, but it ate me up with a rash. My daughter, next week, she gets bit on the back of the neck. She has the bullseye and a rash, and it's actually that right, the little knot above my port. But I watched some things and was kind of, checking it out. And the woman who first alerted people and wrote the first book about Lyme's and brought people back in, uh, she's saying that it's climate change. And nothing could be further from the truth. It's not climate change. It's Project Paperclip. 27, 28 years ago, I got bit on the arm while in the garden. And nobody really knew nothing about Lyme's back then. And I suffered some permanent damage. Took medications for over a year. It looks like nobody knows much more than what they're saying now. So let's start with this. This is what you're going to have on you. This is what I had on my arm. My cousin had it on his leg last year. But it doesn't always do bullseyes. Sometimes it'll look like shingles and they hurt. It just depends. I mean, mine's all over my body. And, this stuff here, if it's, if you get bit by one, if you don't get something done fairly fast, you really are going to live, things are going to change for you. If you do work fast, things are still going to change for you. I mean, that's just the nature of the disease. You see, when they brought in Operation Paperclip, I assumed that all these guys went to form NASA. Some of them went to CIA, some of them went and studying stuff like Project MK Ultra, stuff like that. But that doesn't tell. They brought over 1,000 German scientists and give them American citizenship. But that just doesn't tell the whole story, because some of them went on to create, they built them a whole island, and they wanted to know how, they wanted to continue Hitler's work. See, he done a lot of biological warfare, but he needed to a way to develop it and spread it. Well, with his ideal of ticks and mosquitoes, and so they created this whole Plum Island to continue his research on how to spread different diseases, and they created diseases. I mean, it was just unreal what all they've done. So they created him a whole Plum Island. And Jesse Ventura, back when he had that TV show, Conspiracy Theory, he turned around and took a boat. Of course, they had some high-powered cameras. And either the Coast Guard or the Navy won. They kept them from getting too close. But their films did, or their cameras rather, did zoom in enough to pick it up. This thing had duct tape to try to seal the doors. And so there's a lot of stuff that's gotten out from there. They at one time wanted to move the facility to somewhere out west. It was right in the middle of cattle country. And they everybody pitched a fit, and so they decided to leave it where it was at. It's not been shut down, no matter what they say, because they sure did keep him away. Um, so, if you go on the regular articles, it looks like this is just some freak thing. But how in the world do you come up with some freak thing when you've got all these different things happening? It's just strange. They've had like the Montauk Monster. They only let on like there's one, but there's been two or three of these things wash up. And then they had one with long. They had a body of a man about 6 foot that washed up, and they it had long fingers. It was supposedly a big dude, but he had real long fingers. And there's a book on it, Lab 257. And I know I looked at the price and I thought, dang, it's high. But you can go over to eBay and you can get the same book in paperback for a lot cheaper. Now, it's a little out of my price range. But it's just amazing uh, at the different things that's come out of since he's been there. I mean, apparently he was smart. And I'd say the reason why it ended up coming out in there's all kinds of articles that links not only Lyme's disease, but West Nile virus, and foot and mouth, and several other diseases to this Lab 257. Uh, there was, like I say, I thought that every one of them went to form NASA, but that's just not so. And I know it wasn't closed down as when Jesse Ventura uh, went by there. This Eric Traub, German veterinarian, scientist, virologist, specialized in foot and mouth, Rinderpin, Newcastle disease, whatever, National Socialist Motor Corps. But he worked directly for Heinrich Himmler. How good a guy is that does that? But anyway, we just decided to, I guess, keep him going. Even here it says biowarfare agent with a question mark. Um, it was just, I don't know if it got away from him or if this was his way of testing it, but it sure did. Right there's a Ventura video where he was checking it out. Oh, well, took that off, didn't they? They'll probably take his video down too. But right there's a drawing of the body that washed up. Uh, this tells about where they wanted to move it, right in the beef belt. And like I say, people finally had enough and stood up and said, no, you're not going to move it down here. You're not poisoning us. But anyway, it gives you some idea of what you're up against and where it come from. It ain't got a thing to do with climate change. It's got everything to do with evil people. Uh, it's just, you look at it and you think, well, that ain't us. You wouldn't think that we would do that. I know my dad was in the in World War II. He was in a medical unit over a hospital. And all a person had to do running for office was mention war. He automatically was against them. I don't know what all he's seen in them concentration camps, but it must have been bad. Cholera, hog cholera. I had no earthly idea what in the world that was. Foreign animal diseases, African swine fever. It's just unreal what all. I mean, what makes a man want to create something that would make another man uh, die slowly, or an animal? And right here, I hate to say this because I don't really like Hillary Clinton, but in response to the 2004 incidents in New York City under Hillary Clinton, and Congressman Tim Bishop wrote letters to the Department of Homeland Security regarding the concerns about the center's safety. We urge you to immediately investigate these alarming breaches at the highest levels and to keep us apprised of all developments. So at least you did do one thing right. West Nile virus, duck plague, which I never heard of duck plague. But duck plague could be the flu that, that avian flu. They called it the chicken flu for a while. Then they called it the avian flu. Then they called it the HN1 virus. Well, the funny thing about it, the only thing that catches the HN1 virus are waterfowl, migratory waterfowl. Chickens are, you'll find it occasionally they'll catch it, but chickens are immune to it. What they're not immune to is Newcastle and I can't remember the other one, Merrick's. I used to own a hatchery. Merrick's and Newcastle, that's all you really had to worry about. And you didn't have that to worry about as long as you was clean. So that tells you what China's probably, when they killed all them chickens, it wasn't because they had a disease that was nothing like they said. Instead, it was because I guess they had this duck plague. And the only people to ever catch that virus went out and grabbed a duck. They used Pekins to clean the rice fields. And he grabbed a duck and ripped his head off and started eating down inside of it, raw. So, dude should have died of botulism. And we don't know that he didn't, because that's just pretty stupid and pretty strange. But anyway, it gives you an idea. So if you get bit by a tick, look for those things and get help immediately. The longer you wait, the worse off you're going to be. My middle daughter, she's kind of a sheep. So she's probably thinking, it's daddy with his crazy conspiracy theories. She's fixing to find out her life is going to change after this week. If she's good, she'll probably still have to work, but she's a nurse. I had to work at UPS, and there was just absolutely no taking off. Just about had to die. Eugenics, if you've never studied that, that's something to study. That's what Bill Gates, his grandmother was Margaret Sanger, that started Planned Parenthood. She believed in eugenics. Anybody that didn't measure up should be either sterilized or put down. Not just one, the whole family. I know that is part of Hitler. If that sounds like Hitler, that's because she had a lot of connections with Hitler. And so they just, anyway, wonder if that was it. Nope. That's funny how they take stuff down. YouTube's getting bad for that. Like I say, they'll probably take this down too. And if they do, they do. I've still got the findings board. You can go there a lot of times and read stuff that I can't make a video about.